All right. Done. Oh, no, wait. Real. No.
Oh, that's not.
Gluteus Maximus. Oops, thank you. Gluteus Maximus. We take that one off.
Make sure you get all.
And we also have the Gluteus Maximus right here. And we can also take this one off too. And then underneath here, we have the Gluteus medius / minimus. We use that as, we just say Gluteus medius on the test. Then down here is the piriformis. On here, this model, that's the same equivalent, Gluteus medius, and then piriformis right here. Then we have, when we go to the front, we have the tensor fascia lata right here, and that goes into the IT band, iliotibial tract, that is. And on this model, we got the tensor fascia lata right here as well. And then the other thing we can show nicely on this model is the Iliopsoas. Where is that on the list? Oh, there. The psoas muscle here, coming right from the spine, going down underneath the ligament into the inner thigh, and the iliacus coming from the other side. For the tests, same thing, psoas iliacus, you can say either one. Then we're gonna go, I believe, to the quadricep muscles in the front. So we have the top one is the rectus femoris, and then when we go to the outside, we have one on the inside of the knee, the lateral, the medial by the big toe, vastus medialis that is, and then on the other side it's more lateral, bulging out. That's the vastus lateralis. If I take the rectus femoris off underneath, we have the vastus intermedius that we can see there. Then the one muscle that goes, these come out real easy. The one muscle that goes across the front of the thigh, that's the Sartorius muscle. And then we go to the back. Actually, we can go to the middle first. Next to the Sartorius there, we have this jungle muscle in the middle. That's the adductor muscles. We just group them as one. And then the one going up and down, that's the gracilis muscle. And then we go to the back, and these are the hamstrings. On the big toe side, that's the medial side. We have the semimembranosus and the semitendinosus. We use them as a unit, just in the test. And on the outside, the lateral side, we go to the biceps femoris. And then we go below that to the calf area. The gastrocnemius is in the back. If we take this one off, underneath, we have the tibialis posterior. Just one that's behind here is the tibialis posterior. It's the only one we're going to use. Gets a little confusing. We can do that another time. On the outside, there's the fibularis muscle. And then in the front, the one that's left for us to do here is the tibialis anterior. That's it.
Are we sure?
No, but may or less. Yeah. I think we're sure. All these models. Okay, so, ready?
Yep.
Good. So we're going to do muscles. We're going to not do the facial muscles, but after that, the ones on the test. So the first one I have on there is the trapezius. That would be labeled here if I get the trapezius on. And then I got the sternocleidomastoid, and that's an easy testable right here. The other place where I can have the sternocleidomastoid easy is right here on the facial, right on here. And then the scalene muscles, I'm going to not use it here. I'm going to use it here because we can see them right here next to, between the trapezius in the back and the SCM in the front. In between is the scalene muscles. Those are very cool, very important. And then we're going to go right to the Serratus Anterior. Am I having that on there? Yes, I do. Serratus Anterior is the muscle right here on the side as I come into the ribs, right here. That's Serratus Anterior. And then from there, I go right to the ribs, into the intercostals. And the ones here on the outside, they go up and down like that. Those are the external intercostals. And the ones right next to it are the internal intercostals. And from there, we can easily go right to the abdominal muscles. And we have the rectus abdominis that lays on top, goes up and down. The external abdominal oblique comes from the side on the left side here. We can see how the fibers go this way. And then the internal abdominal obliques are on the other side where we can see a little bit of bone, that white stuff, and the fibers go up like that, so internal abdominal obliques. And then we turn it around and across, we have a transverse abdominis that goes right across on the inside. It's a transverse abdominis. And then from there, we're gonna feed us right into the arms. And we're gonna talk first about the sits muscles. Well, actually, first what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the deltoid off. That's the deltoid muscle, so we're gonna take that off. And we got that off, then we can go right to the sits muscles, the rotator cuff. So on top there we have the supraspinatus. On the bottom here we have the infraspinatus. And then below here we have the teres minor. You see how that goes right into the greater tubercle here. And then below that is not a sits muscle, but it's teres major is right here too. And then we flip it around, and underneath the shoulder blade, the scapula, we have the subscapularis, and that is also the last rotator cuff. Together, the acronym SIT stands for supraspinatus as an S, infraspinatus as an I, teres minor as in T, subscapularis as an S. And then we get into the pectoralis major. And look at the pectoralis major. I've seen it right here again. Right here is the pectoralis major, the big one. That's good for that. And then we go back to the arm, because now we go to the front. And the first muscle we have is a very small sliver. It's the Coracobrachia. That's the coracoid process here. Coracoid, that one. And then down here we have the biceps brachii. And when you take that off, underneath it we have the brachioradialis muscle. And then in the back we have the triceps brachii muscle. As we now go further towards the forearm, we fit right into this first muscle that comes right from the thumb and sort of is on the edge here on the ridge. That's the brachioradialis muscle. Brachioradialis muscle. From there I move to the front of the palm area, or the front of the forearm, and I have these four muscles here that I lay down. So the pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris. And I can flip it over, or I can go back to the brachioradialis. I can see how the pronator teres goes underneath it. And then on top, in the dorsum of the forearm, here we label three muscles. We have on the thumb side the extensor carpi radialis, then a long muscle, the extensor digitorum, that has tendons going into the fingers. And then on the other side here, on the side we do this, is the extensor carpi ulnaris.